Good afternoon to you all again here on the KC McDaniel That Speaks channel. I just wanted to just bring some more information to you. Um, that Singapore leaders, I don't know what they call them. They are Republicans. Are they run by a Republican? I don't know. Well, anyway, they ready to go up for the election. So of course, all over the world, we have people who traveled all over the world and live in different places of the world. And so right now, he's making a statement how he's not wanting a certain group of people to try to get into power in that election by trying to rig the election. You are to vote fairly for your candidate, not because of them belonging to some kind of brotherhood, group, or organization. This is what he is saying. So, anyway, and I don't know what they kind of punishment is going to be in Singapore, but all nations are informing, all nations are informing their citizens about what's going on with these extremist terrorist groups, religious groups, okay?
Strength is our unity across race and religion. It is the bedrock of our multiracial and multi-religious society. And this is not accidental. It is the result of painstaking hard work and patient effort by generations of Singaporeans. In the past few days, we have detected online activity by foreign actors urging Singaporeans to vote along religious lines. They say vote for so and so because he or she will better represent a particular race or religion. These foreigners targeted Singaporeans, and their social media posts were also widely shared within the Singaporean community. That crosses the line. Singaporeans may have different views about issues, but we cannot allow external actors to exploit whatever differences we may have to weaken us or to advance their own interests. Singapore's politics must be for Singaporeans alone to decide. And so we have blocked access to these posts. And we will continue to act firmly against any such actions. Foreign influence is one side of the coin. There are also other posts circulating online attempting to bring race and religion into politics. One example is a recent social media post by a Singaporean activist proposing that Muslims should vote for candidates that are willing to advance his religious agenda. These messages may be by Singaporeans, but we should also reject them.
Okay, I just wanted to just share that with you because everybody's thinking what President Trump said and the way he said it was mean and that he's being racist and discriminating against a certain group of people because of race, nationality, and religion. So why are they trying to build this thing to get the public's attention that America, trying to make America look like America mistreats people and that we're hypocritical? And the thing is that America has truly been very generous across the land to every nation across the land because of who we stand for, to that allegiance to the flag. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, in the invisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. And what it's saying is that when you pledge to that flag and you come across this alleged the soil here, you are joining and assimilating with our culture and also under the same God that we serve. In our friendship, we welcome you with open arms. You have your liberty, but you also have to assimilate to have that liberty. And all the other nations that's under God, meaning who believe in the same universal God, is in touching and agreeing with the same thing. You can't enter our politics, our government, with your extremist way of thinking as an extreme a religious group of in politics. You just want to get into the politics so that you can harm our citizens and to destroy people's life and bring in these horrific laws that you have in Sharia. But we're not going to do that because we're human beings. We're human beings. We're not God. We're human beings, but we have to know how to live together on this planet Earth as a family and learn how to share and respect other human beings. And if you're not living by that law that is written in that book, whether you believe in it or not, and if you're not living in that law of how you enter into another man's house and how you are supposed to greet that home. Anybody come with any threatening or any kind of way of force is an enemy and is not welcome and is a threat to my life. And I have every right to defend myself. And that's what America is telling their enemies. And all over the world is a friend to America, except people that think with that type of ideology to want to harm America. And not only just America, just to harm any other country that they can find vulnerable to push this ideology. And the thing I was talking about, Cash Jones, let me go to it with y'all. With Cash Jones is that I was watching this video with Cash Jones. He's a platform, I guess, journalist, whatever. Yeah, Cash Jordan. Time because local leaders. Okay, let's go back. Okay, I wanted to share his video because I'm going to point something out here too that I have to address, and it's not going to feel good. It's going to ruffle some feathers on some people, especially for the people that I'm actually addressing this to, as far as my own Black American people who are not going to like what I have to say because they've been programmed to think the way they are, the way their minds are in bondage and being always a victim and so on and so on. Things that make you feel less of like you have no rights or make you feel inferior, to have an inferiority complex. What I'm about to say, it hard, it triggers the Black community, and it makes you even become saying horrible, harmful things from your mouth to your own fellow Black woman or man when they want to be honest and they speak to you with love, not with hate. As I was watching this Cash Jordan's video, he was taking, of course, moments and things he was discussing, doing some what you call discussing on certain things in this video about what the immigration is doing over there, ICE is doing out there in Minnesota. These people walking around with signs, they got rights. They walking around talking about how President Trump, da 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 da, call them garbage, how they need support from the communities of what they dealing with, and so on and so on. Um, they don't belong to us. They have no rights. They just came in and took over something that was not given to them and just claimed it as theirs. You'd be a fool without spiritual discernment to see how the devil plays on your heart and on your mind. Okay? And one thing God teaches us is to guard our heart and to guard our minds. Don't play with Satan. If he could get an inch, he gonna try to take a mile. And that's just the way Satan play. They could plead, they could beg, they could call on and say whatever they want to say, but they are not going to get in to my mind or into my heart because already God has judged them. We as Christians got to learn how to understand certain things. When God judged something and you go in and you try to play God to fix it, it's going to turn on you. So be careful about trying to save these Somalians, okay? Like I said, you go in and try to fix what God already judged them. And then it's going to turn on you. So the best thing for you to do is stay away from them. Don't try to go and save them. Don't spend too much time in conversations about anything with them. I'm just telling you and I'm just warning you. So anyway, let's go to the video. And what I said about this black journalist here, she got in her feelings about TDS, Trump deranged syndromes, about this administration and trying to get into the black thing, while they trying to explain to her how this immigration problem is really hurting America. But she's concerned, and I know because Trump called her out before. See, I try to say this to black people that's dealing with still some of the pain they carrying from what they claim their ancestors. You got to let it go. Because you're here, and through it all, we're here. We're not our ancestors, we're here. And for them to go through what they went through, look at where we at. We came into being born into one of the best countries in the world. Became the most important part of history to this best country in the world. So let go of the pain and look at the joy. Look at the joy of it. Like so many people want to be here in the world. They got to come in illegally just to be in America. You don't have to do that. So you have a lot to be grateful for and a lot to be thankful for being an American and where God has brought you from and where God has brought your ancestors from for you to be here. Stop looking back at the pain. Stop looking back at being a victim. Rejoice in the Lord. So anyway, y'all, let me get into this video and listen to this snob of this sister because this is an emergency and people that's holding on to painful past pain, trauma, whatever, they should not give commentary when it comes to a state of emergency where people need to be informed, and people need to be aware of what's going on in the country they live in and around their society. So it's not time to come in with that kind of conversation. So anyway, here you go.
Surge is in full swing. Hundreds have been taken off the street. Now, Minneapolis has been a sanctuary city since 2003.
But wait till you hear what some of these folks were spending their stolen money on.
Luxury cars, private villas, and overseas wire transfers.
Wow.
Just some of the
Just send the
discoveries
money out
found
of
in
the country,
dozens of
sure.
files and photos. Defendants, get this, took taxpayer money
they're driving
that was
Porsches.
obviously meant to feed hungry kids during the pandemic, and instead they used it to buy fancy cars, property,
This is
jewelry. In
crazy.
some instances, they were on video popping champagnes at an opulent Maldives
Beach
resort.
vacation.
In one text, a message said to one of the fraudsters, "You're going to be the richest 25-year-old, inshallah," which means God willing. Now, the documents
Oh,
also
my
feature
goodness.
exhibits from a recent federal trial, and they include confirmation of that Maldives
God's
stay,
not okay with
a
stealing
lakefront
from sick
property in
kids.
Minnesota, bought again with your money, wire transfers to China and East Africa.
To China?
It's incredible. One
What?
set of defendants
Why do
spent
we send
about
money to
$3
China?
million in cash and then sent that money over to Kenya. Another group conspired to basically
This
build
is
the
wild.
state out of $47 million, claiming to have served, millions of kids during the pandemic. They didn't distribute a single meal. Now,
This is
so
so
far,
crazy.
federal prosecutors have convicted 61 people, Sean, and this probe is widening and the scandal continues. The investigations are ongoing.
And the money didn't just go to one overseas country, it went to every overseas country. And people are very upset the
morning,
feds are here
Minneapolis-St.
arresting
Paul.
criminals
ICE is on the
of all
move. The
backgrounds.
operation beginning before dawn.
The frigid temperatures, that means that people aren't out and about as
Yeah, it's a
much.
good plan. They'll be at home,
So,
staying warm.
It makes it a little tougher.
We were given exclusive access to see firsthand why 100 federal agents have converged
wow.
on the Twin Cities.
100
prompting
troops.
backlash,
Whoa.
protests, and threats. So ICE asked us to conceal most
Yeah.
of the agents' identities. What do you say to critics of ICE who say you don't always go after the worst of the worst?
I say that on top of the worst, that our job is to enforce the
Right.
immigration laws.
ICE agents swarming this home outside Minneapolis,
Whoever's-
looking for a suspect charged with criminal
Okay,
conduct.
whoever's in that home is hanging
Minutes
out
later,
with
an
the
arrest.
worst of the
Not
worst.
their original target, but also an undocumented immigrant. ICE
Exactly. How could you say you're supposed to only arrest the criminals when you going to arrest the criminals, but the people that supposedly not be criminals are in there with the criminal? Make it make sense. Like, we coming for the criminal, but you there, so we gotta arrest you too. Okay. If you are in the proximity of these people that are breaking the law and why they know ICE is after them, you can't come to my house. I don't want you here. You ain't got your papers together. You out here, breaking the law, doing crime, whatever, family member, whoever. I don't want nothing to do with you. At this point, I don't even want people around me because I don't know who you dealing with out there. So what he's saying is that if you are in that house and the ICE is doing a bus, you getting arrested too, because that makes you part of it. If you're not part of it, that person wouldn't have you there. And you know that person is a criminal. But you hanging out with them. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Wow.
They were also searching for immigrants with criminal histories from Somalia. Minnesota has the largest Somali community in the country. The vast majority are here legally, and many are U.S. citizens.
But if ICE goes to a home where we know we've got dangerous criminals and they go into that home and they find people who aren't the dangerous criminal but are living with them, possibly conspiring with them, and they're also here illegally, why would anyone be against that?
Well, President Trump is at the point, like, I don't care if they've been here 50 years. I don't want them in my country. Point blank. That's why he wants everybody that is a Somalian in the United States of America to be investigated. Don't overlook none of them. If it take us 1,000,000 years, okay? 1,000,000 years because these people didn't come to America in the right order. They did not come to America honestly. They've been robbing and stealing. Their whole country is disgusting. It's to the ground. It's nothing. No resources there. No nothing there. No government there. No nothing. What other way you think they know how to survive but to steal, kill, and destroy? Okay? Not just Somalians. And we don't want to make it to be religious, but if they're going to be in a Muslim, if they come from a Muslim culture, then we have to say it's religion. It's a Muslim culture because it doesn't still, like I said in the last video, speak the same God we speak. They have totally different rules they live by in their way of living than the way we live by according to the scriptures in the Bible. And if they're not living by those same rules in that scripture in the Bible, then they don't belong to the kingdom of God and they don't belong to Him. And I'm going to keep saying it, they belong to their father Satan. With all the trickery, all the witchcraft. You could look at these people and could tell these people are different from us.
Type of collateral arrest.
That hasn't stopped President Trump from railing against their African homeland.
We always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster.
The president's escalating rhetoric follows convictions involving members of Minnesota's Somali community who stole millions of dollars in taxpayer money.
The mistakes of a few individuals can never be used to generalize or stereotype an entire community.
It is not an operation targeting the Somali community.
Right.
We're not looking for any certain type of person. We're looking for people that are here illegally.
Exactly.
See, the thing is that they're not going to understand that because of the time they were giving birth when they was in their mother's womb. They were already born in war and trauma and things of that nature. Everything the mother was pregnant with during her season, her time of trimester, enjoying her pregnancy, everything that parent was going through in her womb, it was the child was actually receiving. So a lot of things like us as Christian children, when we were born, my parents probably sung songs to us. We probably was in a good, peaceful environment. Mother was at peace or whatever. She probably was going through some little pain in her life, but it wasn't as severe as the pain that this mother was carrying in her womb, in the life she was bringing her child in. And then you got to look at the age of the mothers of these Somalians, okay? These are young mothers. These are mothers who may be no more than 12 or whatever age. But she's very young when she gives birth to these children that grow up to be these people in society. So by them growing up in that kind of world that they live in, and they come over and cross over to our world, they still think they could still live like they live over there. And this is how life's supposed, and we're supposed to just take that in. And we're not trying to take it in because we gave them 30 years in our country and you don't want to assimilate. You got to go because you're not here to serve the same God that we all came to know while we're here, to escape what we went through from the places that we came from when we immigrated here to the United States of America. See, that's the difference of becoming a legal immigrant than an illegal immigrant. You don't fit in with this world over here. You don't fit into our society over here. And it makes life for us here very uncomfortable. And especially when you want to implement a certain type of religious law that harms people instead of help people. Something that destroys people than something that builds people. We don't want that in our world. That's not the world God wants us to live in. That's not living in the kingdom of God. Hate Satan is all of that hell and chaos and burning and murder because that's who he is. He's the father of all those things. So you in the wrong world. So we rebuke you back to the pits of hell where you came from over here. So anyway, let's go back to the video and then I'm gonna get out of here.
Are sounding the alarm, saying U.S. citizens are being wrongly detained.
They're
including
not.
This Somali American who says he was targeted.
A masked person running at me full speed. He tackled me, pushed me inside the restaurant.
What did he do to get targeted?
I'm a US citizen. What is going on? He didn't seem to care.
But he must have done something. He must have
reached out to
attacked
ICE for comment
agents.
on that specific incident overnight, but have not yet heard back. It is not clear how long this federal surge will last.
It's gonna last for a long time because local leaders are doing everything they can to stop it.
Riverside neighborhood, and I wanted to speak.
Now look at his eyes. Do that look? I mean, his head is big. The eyes look like they sunk in his face. The deformity of his look. As normal as you could look at him and say he's normal, but that's not a normal American look. That's a look of someone who was nursed off of malnutrition because there's some deformity there. The body is growing, but the brain is still deformed. It's not developed. That this man, he could probably be, for all we know, he could be 30, 40 years old. Excuse me. And then you got to understand these people also, they are inbreeders. They're inbreeders. That's another problem with their DNA that don't connect with ours in the United States because ours is integrated. Let's go on.
To you about what we've been seeing here in the Twin Cities area, as well as
what have you been seeing
throughout the state of Minnesota. President Trump has the full force of the federal government targeting the Somali community.
That's not true.
That our neighbors have been detained, at times even American citizens, and families have been torn apart.
You see, they can't think on a level of a normal human being. Like, this is the president of the United States giving these orders. If the president of the United States gives an order, we have to follow them. And when the president, you're not supposed to come to his country asking for help from his people. If the president is telling you to leave the country, you people are considered our outlaws, meaning that we go helping you, then we breaking the law. You understand? Because they want you out of this country. And if the president wants you out, he wants you out. That's his command. We shouldn't be taking no part in helping you. By helping you, we are breaking the law.
But I want to.
Okay, that's because American citizens like to throw themselves in the middle of an immigration operation that is not their business.
I'll know that it does not have to be this way, and that you do have rights, and I want to run them by you.
Oh, what are the rights?
First, when ICE
They don't
or an
have
ICE
no
agent
rights.
comes
You
to
don't
your
belong
door,
to this country.
you have the right not to open and to request information.
You know, how could you come in somebody's country and try to run their government? That right there tells me you the enemy. Your mission failed. You the enemy. You caught. You know, we don't want nothing to do with y'all. But send y'all back to where y'all came from or out of this country. You can't come breaking no laws in people's country. And you just coming from another place. Come on. This tells you that these people they don't have good leadership wherever they came from. Because one thing about being in leadership from people from your country going in other countries is that they represent who you the fuck are. Okay? It's like a child raising a child. It's like the blind leading the blind. Nobody has any direction. But right now, America is done with y'all. Y'all stole $8 billion from America, or maybe even more than that. That's all we found in the state of Minnesota. But there's a whole lot of y'all here, so we could imagine what's in Ohio and all the other states that y'all are living in, that y'all stole from the welfare system here. Y'all done. And any American that go ahead and help y'all, then they be a damn fool, because ain't no way in the world I'm gonna put my life at risk and my life in risk for any of y'all. For all the lives that in America that was taken, and the children that starved, and the families that been living out on the street, or whatever was going on with their life, that they needed that money that y'all all took care of yourselves with and was wiring it to your terrorist El Shabaab.
You can ask for a judicial warrant that's signed by a judge. You have to have a judicial warrant and not an administrative warrant. We saw that play out earlier today in the F building, in the towers behind me, in which an ICE agent came saying that they had a warrant.
These elected officials really want to protect something here, don't
investigators
they?
are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who
So these
hosted
folks
events for
live
her.
in her district.
He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
Meanwhile, representatives who are supposed to be working for the good of America think more than half the country is stupid.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people, because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived.
Wow.
Because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
So if you
sitting on the United States of America's, I would say, news platform or whatever, and calling the United States of America stupid in their face, and saying that to the American people, but then want the American people to save you and help you from the scam you got caught up in. Make it make sense. How stupid are we? We can't be that stupid. You sitting there on broadcast television and live streams in front of the American people, calling us names to our face, but them saying, help me, help me, help me. This is why I say you have to have spiritual discernment. You have to know the word of God, or these are the things that you will find yourself getting involved with and end up getting caught in Satan's trap. Okay? This woman sitting up here calling American people all kind of names, but then she wants America to save them from their eviction from America.
Agree with President Trump and you think fraud is bad and you want to come out and talk about how people like this should have known better and could have done something, you're an idiot. There's something wrong with you. You're part of the dumbing down of America, according to her. Meanwhile, the mayor of Minneapolis says he's going to Somalia.
A few months from now, in the next year, I would very much like to visit Somalia.
Okay.
Don't be surprised when you go over there, you won't be able to get back into America. How about that?
This has been something that I would like to do for quite a long time, but to be there with my friends, to be there together.
But these are people who fled Somalia.
Walayal. My brothers and sisters. I'm learning.
This whole thing is going to be a photo op. If he goes, he's going to go over there and get his picture taken, be surrounded by a security detail. The president says they don't even really have police in Somalia. It's very sad, the humanitarian disaster going on over there. But what's crazy is the Democrat Party is now basically pigeonholing itself into being the opposite of whatever President Trump stands for. President Trump comes out, he says, you know what, we're going to crack down on fraud. There's been a lot of fraud in Minnesota. And what are they doing? Certain parts of the country are deciding to hoist the Somali flag as a symbol of their resistance. But why is there resistance?
This would make Minnesota a magnet for more illegal immigrants. If I went to Russia, would I be expecting to get the sorts of benefits that Minnesota taxpayers are giving to people who are here illegally? Illegal immigrants in Minnesota in 2025 will be given $7,000 worth of benefits.
That's crazy.
$7,000 per person.
In an era of unaffordability.
In the form of Minnesota.
This is just making things less affordable.
Paid for by Minnesota taxpayers.
That's crazy.
Over 17,000 people who have already enrolled for this program here in Minnesota. In fiscal year 2025 alone, that is going to equate to at least $107 million in this fiscal year.
That's fraud too, because if people aren't supposed to be in America, if they're here illegally and their government willingly gives them state benefits, that is fraud. That is state-sponsored criminal activity. That is robbing Americans and legal residents who pay into those systems, giving it to people who aren't even supposed to be here. And they're doing it in what? The name of compassion? The name of resisting the president? That's terrible.
Noise, where ICE agents are apparently loud.
Oh, they're making noise where ICE is. Oh, the frogs. This is crazy.
The noise and the sound.
How people gonna come in your country and do a protest? They should all be arrested, and that should not even be allowed. If the president tell you he's cracking down on immigration for illegal, and they go protest, they all should be arrested. Protest for that type of protest should never ever be allowed. Anything against the president's order of cracking down on something that is for the benefit of the American people, for the safety of American people, that order should not be ignored, and that order should not be something that people should protest against. I'm sorry. So anytime there's a protest like that going on, especially from illegals, you better shut that shit down.
In this protest, the group appearing outside of the Homewood Suites by Hilton, which is in Edina, last night.
Where ICE agents
they
are staying.
believe ICE agents are staying there while taking
Don't
part
these people...
That's when the president need the news militia. If they do something like that, come out with the militia law. Okay, you've been warned. Okay, you want to come out, you want to play like that, then whoever's out on the street, you just going to have to be part of getting hurt. So he give a warning. He should have every right to use the militia law. I'm sorry. If they want to ignore what the president orders of getting safety in this country and coming after illegal immigrants, criminals, on top of that, and y'all want to try to get in the way, okay, here we go.
Jobs tomorrow morning, or is this their job?
Stop collaborating with ICE. Plenty of police officers were in that area. It's right near Southdale Center.
Look at these people.
Edina police wrote on
They
Facebook
think
that
they're
were
saving the
called there
world.
and assisted by Bloomington, Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, St. Louis Park, and the Richfield Police Departments.
Look at their signs. This sign says Wall Street is the enemy. This person right here has one of those Palestine-related scarves that they're wearing. This person has a whole bunch of pins. They got some no king stuff. This is a hodgepodge of socialist causes all rolled into a bunch of people standing at an ICE hotel, freezing their butts off at 2 a.m. just to make noise and save America. This is like the fakest opposition I've ever seen.
They say the incident...
You see, this is what I'm saying. They shouldn't be allowed to protest. They shouldn't even be given the privilege to protest for something like that. Anything when the president give an order of something that he, especially when it comes to immigration, illegal, something crime or something that he's trying to crack down on, nobody should be out there protesting. And they should put a law that you can't protest when the president wants to crack down on illegal immigration.
Ended peacefully and no arrests were made.
A Minneapolis City Council member says ICE has detained more than 400 people since that crackdown began.
Wow.
There are
They're
roughly
moving quick.
80,000 Somalis in the metro, and many we spoke with say they're feeling singled out by ICE.
Why? ICE said they're not after people who are from
doctors,
one
nurses,
particular
and
place.
attorneys showcasing their professions and their humanity on TikTok. Salma Hussein is a Somali American elementary principal.
No one has a problem with.
Well, won't they just go to Somalia and be leaders over there? How about that? Maybe they can go help the people over there and be their leaders over there. Not in America. You're not going to change America. This is our policies, our laws, our rules from the time America became America. And it ain't going to change because we're going to want to continue to hold on to the values of our foremothers and our forefathers who have built America for us. Okay? So you want to be Somalian and you want to help Somalia, then maybe you need to go live in Somalia and go help the Somalians. Okay? Because this is America.
Folks who come here legally and become part of America. That's not what this is about at all. This is not about people being singled out. This is about fraudsters and criminals who've committed crimes being tracked down. We heard the ICE agents say, look, we're not looking for anybody in particular, only people who are here in violation of immigration law. And it's the same thing with the federal government and all these investigations. They're not looking for anybody in particular, just the people that are robbing America. This has nothing to do with where somebody's from.
But leaders in Minnesota were unable to grasp the idea of immigrant poverty. They were more afraid of being called racist if they did their job to try and deal with potential welfare fraud within the Somali community. Our next guest says there's more.
See, this is what we got to get away from. Stop using that racism. When you break in the law, you break in the freaking law. Everything is not racism. That situation is not racism. This is an illegal immigration problem, and it's a crime going on, bringing crimes into America. Okay? So stop using the race card when you getting busted for being involved with criminals.
To the fraud story, and he's a Somali American refugee and naturalized U.S. citizen who lives in Maine.
There are much deeper issues. I've moved into the U.S. And in Maine about 11 years ago, and basically the first question that members of my community asked me which tribe I belong to, and when I mentioned, so I fell into that category. So there's a deeper tribal rivalry going on in the community, much larger than anybody can actually imagine.
That's weird. That's going to hurt people's ability to come to America and start a new life if elements of their old life keep them down in a country that is on the other side of the world. That's just a bizarre circumstance right there.
And then interestingly enough, even though I spoke very good English, one of the things that I was told to do is go.
He just said the same thing I said. Okay? When they lifestyle and the way they were taught and they lived in the environment is going to be difficult for them to be able to live in this world along with us. Because they're going to always feel the victim. Because this is not their world. Their world is over there in Somalia. And that's where they need to go. But they don't know what they're saying. Because they think they could just go places and just make it their home. But it's not like that. Places have rules. And they think if you say it's a free place to come, they free to come and build a life there freely. Without any kind of consequences or accountability. Knowing that there is rules set in place of our government. And they're not supposed to be here. And they can't relate to that because their minds are not developed enough to understand that type of information.
Find a discounted housing section 8, which I didn't know what actually it was.
Weird.
And sign up for all the other community
get the benefits
within the government or the state, and my response was, I'm actually here to work and build, basic and become part of the American fabric, which is pretty much what I've been working on for a while.
Incredibly fascinated by what you're trying to say, so much so that I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to clarify. So when you felt that pressure and you were told to go join, public welfare programs once you moved here, where was that pressure coming from? Are you saying it's like cultural, like neighborhood, like neighbors telling you this is what you should do?
That's weird.
How were you pushed in that direction?
That's a bad system, if that's the advice people are given.
Well, it was coming from the community that actually thought that was just a way of life, right? I instead of being asked about what kind of school I want.
Now he's probably one who came up in America. Like, no, he didn't. He learned as he went along, and he started learning that, oh, this is the way of life. So whenever those welfare checks was rolling in, it was the way of life. This is how we was living. This is the what America was offering us. They weren't putting it into the system. This is where a lot of American money was going for the American citizens who really needed that money. It's people that was having problems getting Section 8, getting into a program for a home buyers, whatever program for them and their families. Those who were needing SNAP benefits for their infants or their children or whatever, those who were going through, whatever hardship those families were in need of, these people didn't belong to our system, but they were here living off of the people that were citizens where the money was supposed to go. And then them to say, no, me not black. Who were they checking for the people that needed that assistance? They had to check their race as black. They were in black, white, or Asian. There's only 3 races in that box that you are to check as your race. Either you black, you white, or you Asian. Asian, and then you go into an ethnicity. Okay? Is your ethnicity African, American, Black American, or African American? Black American or African American or African? Okay? Hispanic or whatever. Then you go down the line. Okay? So when that money was coming in, they had to check their race to be black. The black race. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? But then they not black. They Somalian. So the Somalian money, the black money that was stolen from America, the money that was supposed to go to the black community that were poor or having hardship, they ate it up. Okay? They robbed us. They robbed America for her good kindness and her virtuous heart. And they robbed her children in America. That's what I'm saying. Robbed our hearts. We don't want nothing to do with them. And when the President of the United States is speaking and he's sending a message, regardless who, if you voted for him or not, he speaks for America. Regardless to the tone that he used at this point, it's overwhelming. Then to make a threat to destroy your country after you have fed them. It's not time to be nice anymore. And with all that being said, I'm going to get out of here with this video because it's just like so much I could say, but don't want to say it. Until next time. Casey McDaniel channel, that's big. Hit the like button. For those of you who are viewing this channel for the first time, welcome to the Casey McDaniel Who Speaks channel. This channel was originally a fight for the R&B king, Robert Sylvester Kelly, known as R. Kelly, for the injustice that was done for him. And I'm basically very spiritual and evangelistic. about a lot of things that I bring to my channel, and I'm talking right now on things that's going on around our world and our politics and our church. So this your first time ever being here. Check me out again and again and again. And if you like, just subscribe. Hit that notification button so whenever I get on, you get that notification. And we'll just be able to get to know each other. Okay, so take care. Have a wonderful and blessed evening.